All right, let's start with which Lightroom you should be using because it might be confusing off the bat, and then we'll go into all of the other differences. So if you are a professional doing photography for a living and you're doing sessions that have thousands of photos and you're doing them weekly or monthly, then you're gonna wanna use Adobe Lightroom Classic because Classic has a little bit more organizational ability and it's more local, meaning on a drive versus on the cloud and things like that. If you are more of a hobbyist or you travel or you use multiple devices like your phone, tablet, and computer on a regular basis, then you would want to use Lightroom CC. If you are a little bit of both of those, you can use them both separately, but Lightroom Classic is going to definitely be the professional way because it gives you more abilities as a professional. So let's get into the differences between the two as to why you would want to use each one comparatively. So number one, and this is the big thing with Lightroom Classic, is that it has organizational abilities that are, in my opinion, better than Lightroom CC, and it's all locally. So if you look over here on the left side of your Lightroom catalog, you'll see you have collections, which can be different weddings or even just a preview and a wedding in one. For me, I make a new collection for a preview and for a full wedding or elopement. However, if it's a brand new elopement for a new person, I make a new collection. Some people have just like a yearly collection that they put all of their projects in one place. I don't really like that. I like having each one for each client because then I can keep track of where they're at. I know they're both very easy to keep track of, but I like the separation, especially in case something ever happens to that file. At least it's only one wedding or elopement and not all of them. So I separate them, you do what you want, but you're able to organize things in a smart collection or a regular collection, which makes it much easier to keep track if you're doing it professionally. Lightroom CC doesn't have that, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Otherwise, when you're looking at Lightroom versus Lightroom Classic and CC, they all look very similar. I mean, they have very similar tools like the preview buttons, the editing, sliders and everything are all essentially the same. They just may be in different spots, which is kind of annoying. But it all kind of has the same features. I don't know any feature that Lightroom Classic has that Lightroom CC doesn't have in terms of photo editing, meaning, the actual things you can change to manipulate a photo. However, it does have obviously differences in general. Another difference it has is this top bar up here. You have your library, develop, map, book, slideshow, print, and web, whereas CC doesn't have this. So if you're printing stuff or doing anything else in here other than developing your photos, then you probably don't want to use CC. Otherwise, I keep saying local, and so the big thing with that is Lightroom CC is a majority cloud-based, so everything that I have in this gallery here out of hundreds of photos is all stored on a local drive in my computer, versus Lightroom CC kind of does that now. It's a new feature, but for the most part, it's generally cloud-based. So you have to pay for their cloud storage if you're gonna be storing a crap ton of photos in Lightroom CC, and it's kind of annoying, but it does have its benefits. And then lastly, when you import your photos from a local drive, they stay in that local drive. They don't get automatically put into the cloud or anything. They're on that drive. You can upload them to the cloud or back it up to the cloud. Lightroom Classic now has that option up here. I don't sync because I don't have that much data on Lightroom or Adobe, but yeah, so that's Lightroom Classic in a nutshell. Definitely better for your professional use if you're using it more consistently and quite often. But let's talk about Lightroom CC because there are some benefits to this. It's just depends on what you do. So with Lightroom CC, normally you'll see something that looks like this. It's under the cloud option up here. They recently added this local option, which I'll get into last. But the cloud option here is meaning the cloud. So any photos you add here, you import here, etc., they get automatically uploaded to the cloud. Now they do kind of get put on your computer as well, whether it's a cache file or something like that, but it's not a perfect system. You can go into your preferences here and you can select so that it saves a copy of a photo on a physical hard drive. This way, if you do ever go travel and you need to not have internet, say you're on a plane, you can plug your drive in and it'll find that photo locally because you won't have cloud access. So that's another annoying thing is it's hard to travel and not have internet when you're using this one because it's more complicated. So any photo you upload here or import is going to be uploaded to the cloud automatically. And from my knowledge, there's zero way to turn this off. I have looked in the preferences. I don't see any way to turn this feature off, and it's kind of annoying. The next thing here, other than it being cloud-based, which is kind of its biggest downfall and upside. You know, it depends on who you are and how you use it. You definitely would have to buy cloud storage on Adobe, which is like a decent amount of money per month compared to what you're already paying for, you know, the Adobe Suite or just Lightroom Photoshop. And you'll see here, this is kind of where everything uploads and tells you how much storage you have and stuff like that. But you will notice there aren't those tools up here, the tab. So that's a little bit different as well. The Develop tab and Library tab in Lightroom CC are kind of all combined into one. You'll see here, I can click this and see all of the photos in different formats, or just do the traditional one by one down here. Whereas Lightroom Classic, you have to go to your Library tab to get kind of more things like this. Now, I did mention earlier, some of the editing tools and stuff are in different spots, which is completely true. You know, the traditional sliders are first always, but you'll notice there's not like the dehaze and texture and stuff. That's all down way farther, actually, quite far down in effects. So things are a little bit kind of scattered around in different spots in this. Maybe they updated it because it seemed like a better spot, and then they didn't want to mess with Classic because it's been like that forever. And you know, we'd kind of get mad about that. But otherwise, you still have your cropping, your eraser and remove tool with the AI now, and as well as the selection tool for masking. So you have all of those functions and stuff still. So that's kind of all the same as far as editing goes. But this is definitely for more on the go, because the cool part about the cloud base of this is that you can, you know, upload your photos here to your gallery, and then also see that same gallery on your phone and your tablet and another computer, or you know, wherever you may be in the world. So you can kind of edit photos without needing to carry around a hard drive all the time, and you can upload photos whenever you want, and they'll go to the cloud so you can use them on any device. So it's a lot more of a versatile program to use if you're just traveling. I personally use this program for travel photos when I'm editing my own travel photos, because I can edit them on my phone and everything, which is really cool. However, I've noticed over time my data filled up way too fast, and so I kind of just don't use this anymore, because I don't want to pay $10 a month for a terabyte of data, because I was filling that almost all the way up with just a few galleries here. My Canon R6 II and R5 take pretty big photos. So it was just annoying to have to pay for extra stuff when I could just use Lightroom Classic and carry around a really small hard drive. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, but if you wanted to use your phone or something, you kind of lose that. So all of the data I have on Lightroom Cloud is mostly from my phone, from uploading photos there. I will say though, the organizational features in this are also really good. It's just that the cloud base kind of kills it. You can add albums and then folders within the album, or albums within a folder. It's kind of nice to be able to layer things nicely within like a nice modernized looking layout, whereas Lightroom Classic still kind of looks older, but that's obviously on purpose. And then two last things. One is you actually have a dedicated presets tab up here in the top right for Lightroom CC. And the cool thing is you have your presets, premium presets, and recommended presets. You can actually have AI determine a good preset that'll fit on the photo you're editing right here. And some of these photos can be made by certain people and not just like random generated ones. So like you could pick the, you know, category you want them to be in, but you can also look at other people's presets in the Lightroom community, which is really cool, and you can pick out different presets within the community. So you have a lot of options to be able to edit your photos in a really nice way here, but again, that cloud base kind of kills it. And lastly, to get out of the cloud-based conversation, they did add a local option here recently. The only problem with that is that you don't import the photos into your cloud-based side. You could, but when you're editing photos like this, generally you just edit them within the folder that they're in, and if you go back to that same folder again later, they'll be there edited and manipulated however you put them. So if you star them and stuff like that. So it's kind of like using Lightroom Classic at that point. It's just not uploading them to the cloud. But at that point, you might as well just use Lightroom Classic. But this is a nicer way to quickly get stuff done because I don't have to make a new catalog or a new project, which is something that Lightroom CC doesn't do. There are no catalogs or project files or anything. It's all under just the program and it gets saved to the cloud, which is why they do that, because it's cloud-based. So they don't need to make individual projects on your computer. So the project would kind of just get saved within the folder that the photos are in. So if you move the folder with the photos, that could, cause some issues. So that's the major differences between these two programs. If I missed something, put it in the comment section down below. But if you're going to be a professional using this, then I would 100% go for Lightroom Classic. If you're on the go, going crazy, then try out CC, maybe buy some more storage because you don't really have a lot to begin with. But that's it for this video, and we'll see you on the next one.